All right, Toro. Arch, we can't understand what the hell you're saying. It's that New York accent. Toro Tastemaster. No, not Tastemaster. Toughmaster? Toastmaster. Yes, it's the Toro Toastmaster for your toasting needs. It's got this, listen to me. It's got the Kawasaki commercial FJ180V, the Kai, K-A-I. FJ1 or FJ1801, FJ180V. I don't care what you say. Does it matter? All right, this thing's a mess. But it's a nice machine. I love these machines. This is actually my favorite one. So I just want to tell you what we're going to be doing in this video. Once again, the old mechanic struck again. So we're going to full service. So as these machines come in, right, I got to get to know them. Now they're going to be my responsibility. Whatever the old mechanic did and whoever else touched it. That's the thing with this video. So we're going to do our standard lube and service. The valves are part of that, but not in this video. Check out the other video for the valves on this motor. And we'll get to the other Toros later. So I'll do a separate video for the valves. And I got a little different technique. I add something to these techniques that I've seen over the years. I would try what I'm doing because your valves are going to loosen up. Anyway, Kawasaki FJ180V. And on a nice, tough Turfmaster, Toilet Master, that can deliver the goods. So like I said, we'll get the whole service covered. So it's like service lube, going over the engine, the carburetor, the ignition system, cleaning out the tank. All of my videos will basically have that anyway, but I like to make sure that we've got a carb clean, the tank is clean, filters, whatever else, plug, or I clean the plug. It depends upon how much other stuff I do. We're going to get into cleaning up the paint and a little bit of rust on it, make it a little bit prettier because he wants to keep this machine, as would I. So we're going to do that. I'm also going to try out a different chemical that I really don't care for, but we're going to try it out. We'll have to find out about that. I don't know, whatever else in this video. Stay tuned. Let's get started. All right, let's get started with this 30-inch Turfmaster. So here's what I'm thinking. It's in pretty good shape. It's pretty clean. I want to give it a wash. So I'm thinking, why don't we take off this hood, right? The cover, the pull start, and this hood. And that way we can expose the engine for a little bit better cleaning because it hasn't been cleaned in a long time. And we'll get it cleaned up so she'll cool better. And then maybe we'll pull these bolts off. And it's just this section here. Slide it out. And then we can turn it over and pull the blades. We'll wash it. And then later on we'll finish up by maybe pulling these wheels off and giving it a final wash. All right, let me go set up with the the washer and everything. Like, it's actually not that bad. You could probably even use the electric washer for this, but I think we'll get out the big pressure washer. Let's take a peek underneath, and that's when I'll decide. Yeah, she looks real good, fellas. Everything's real clean in here. I think we might even be able to get away with the electric washer because we're going to focus on the engine. And there's not a lot of debris in here. It just needs lubrication. We'll pull these blades off now, and not because it's here. And then we can sharpen the blades. And you see how we can get in here real good, right? We'll be able to get into, everything we need to get into. And this cover here, that's the belt cover. Let's just expose the belt cover. And with the electric washer and chemicals, we're not going to damage anything. And then, then we'll be done for the day. We can come back over to these wheels, right? Which are, he's going to need a new bearing in here at some point, but for now we can get it lubricated. We can also get some lubricant all around here, but then we can focus also on getting these this cleaned out in here and lubricated when we're done, when we can bring it in on the bench tomorrow. Oh, she's looking pretty good. Okay, not a lot of buildup in here. The belts look like they're okay. We'll get all this stuff off. I just left it to show you. But yeah, see, that will rot the deck. And that's kind of how that happens. It's very wet. But there's not a tremendous amount. The deck is in good shape. Back there, everything looks okay. We need to lubricate this. This is very hard to move up there on the handle. Again, engine looks good. We'll get a little chemical on it. We'll get it cleaned up. We'll get all this cleaned up. Belts look like they're okay. What I did notice is Well, this you could see here, right, is not down and on this. I don't know why that is. But this handle here, so this one's the drive for the, okay, yeah, this one here is, all right, this is drive, that's this handle. It doesn't, see how easy it is? I don't know if it's actually engaging the drive. This one is difficult to do. Well, I need like 2 hands, but look at that lock. It's real stiff. So that's doing the front. Well, when I bring it in, I'll show you more. But that's doing the blade engagement. And all that looks good, but I think we just need to lubricate it. When I turn it on its side, we'll get some lubricant in and we'll check with the camera in the shop to make sure that the drive system is engaging properly. I think we're good. Like, we're golden. Let's just get out the electric washer, get this rinsed off, put a little chemical on it, get underneath, put a little chemical on it, let it sit, and then we'll give it a rinse, and then we'll come back for the tires, right, for inside there in the drive system. And I think we'll be done. Not bad. Backing plate's okay. That's from the other side. That one, the bearing had to come out because it's a little sticky. I had to use a little crystal blue persuasion on it. We're gonna leave it like that for now, fellas. Let me just get, well, I'll just blow in there for a quick hot minute, the pressure washer. Then I'll put a little stupid clean on it. Let it sit. But you can see the rest of it. It's not bad. I think what we'll do, don't forget, we want to do the valves and stuff, maybe pull the carburetor and check the tank. We'll suck on that tank and all the fuel out. This will do all lube and all that. It feels real sticky and tight. We got a bunch of things to check. It seems like it's okay. And then when we're done with like the general maintenance and everything, we'll come back, bring it outside on a different day and hit wire wheel a little bit. Buddha stick is off, can't help that. But this is nasty in here, and you can see the adjuster is jammed. So we'll pick at that with the screwdriver. Nice thing about the lower pressure is it doesn't damage the belt, so at least we can get in here for some maintenance, service, and inspection, and a little bit of repair. I think in here we'll wire wheel as well, maybe a few chemicals. I want to try out a different chemical. I'm not going to take this off. I figure we'll just put a little rusty metal primer when it's dry and cleaned up. Throw a little color, close color match on the whole thing, and it'll all be ready to go. And that's about as good as you're going to get with an industrial machine like this that's got to get back into service. But this hasn't been done ever, and it's a long time coming, and it's a nice machine. We want to really kind of lock this in so he has a lot of use left in it. It looks like it will have. We still got to deal with the motor, though. He says it runs good. I didn't really test it. Doesn't matter. We're going to be testing that. I'll see you guys in a bit. Probably next shot is we'll be in the shop. Now down here, I just wanted to mention, notice the spring is wrapped up. Probably what I'll do is I'll start putting oil on that before I close up. Just lubricant oil, my tranny sauce, flood it, maybe flood these, you know, before I bring it in, and then, because I'm done for tonight after this. After I'm, you know, all cleaned up, we'll do the blades, and I'll be done with this, and leave it till tomorrow, so that oil can start penetrating, and it won't be the first things that we do necessarily, you know. Oh, here's another little tip. So when the throttle came off, this is one of the things I tend to do. You know, it was hanging, so what I like to do is take it off, and then tie wrap or bread tie or whatever. That way you don't lose it. You don't want to lose anything. So you want to be mindful of when you're pressure washing, even with the hose. And of course, fellas, shout out to Super Clean for helping out with this mess. And for this one, I used the foamy, a lot of the foamy, but I also like to take some of it and 50-50 mix it, because a lot of times I do not need it full strength. And for just a quick spritz, well, foamy. Super Clean. Get yours now.
72 hours later.
All right, I pulled the fuel out, and there's a little bit of junk in there. We sucked that all out. I may want to just give it a wash. I'll show you what else I found in there. The filter catches most of it, and there's a little bit of junk in there. So I think we're probably okay. We probably don't even have to clean that out. We do want to remount it. It's not mounted. All right, so we got the air cleaner cover off, which I'm just going to rinse that out too. I missed a few spots. So over here, we got the big, this is a big lever here that's on your throttle, and a spring, and a small lever, and a spring. See where it goes? All right. So now we'll just take this off. We'll drain out the rest. We're going to replace this. And let's just take a peek in the carburetor and see how it looks. If we have to, we'll just give it a quick cleaning. All right, so this is what I found in the tank. So this was probably some kind of a check ball. It's a stainless style ball, you know, non-magnetic. I don't know where it went. Maybe anti-tip, you know, like if it tips over or something, you don't pee out all that fuel because that's a big tank. That could be what it is. It is what it is. It's laying in the bottom of the tank. I see the gasket ripped there. Oh, I don't think I did that. I was pretty careful, but that's where a sealing surface would be. And I'll show you the plug in a minute. These are really tight. I just put my vice grip on them just to break them loose, and then I'm going to do the double nut and pull them out because you don't want to bend these rods and force anything. We'll pull that out. We'll make another gasket. Now let me show you. Where is it? Here's the plug. So she ran real nice, but like that's really too lean. So that could be one of the reasons why we had a bit of a leak. All right, just tighten up the nuts, and it comes right out. All right, let me take care of this. I need both hands, but that way you don't strip anything and endanger it. By the way, I don't know if I showed you. Did I show you this? I forgot. Somebody was trying to. Maybe this was not on right. Well, somebody was doing something. We'll tighten that up. I don't remember if I showed you, fellas. I think that's it. Let's just take a look at the carburetor now. We'll get this off. All right, touch of wash on the outside. Yeah, this even junk getting in behind. All right, and we can see, yeah, a little bit more. And no, I didn't do that. I used my release agent, my transmission sauce. So it came right off. He says it was probably, I showed him the pic. He says it's probably the mechanic at this other shop. See all the silt in it? I just ran my finger over it. Look. It's just full of silt. But it's not terrible, but it's just full of like an oily silt. All right. Yeah, it's all gray. It's supposed to be white. Okay. All right, let me get this thing apart. I'm just going to clean it out, put it back together again. It's in good shape. Here's the bowl. Same kind of silt. You'll see. All right, so not really a carb video, but I'm going to go through it. Just like black. Yeah. All right. Orifice tube and main jet. Okay, let me soak it in a little bit of lacquer thinner first. Look at that. Okay? And now look. The bowl is clean. And remember the gray? Wow, huh? Oh, yeah. All right, so now I'm going to make a gasket, but this phenolic spacer, okay, allows a bit of air to come around the back, and that's because of the way the fuel evaporates. It can cause issues, vapor lock, what have you. But I like to run this on a plate of steel with sandpaper on it, you know, like really fine grit, 240 or less. And because it gets warped, and you can see on one side versus the other. Look at the outsides of the ones that sanded. I don't get crazy with it, just real quick, just something there. The gasket on the engine is in good shape. Now I'm just going to make a fresh gasket for this side. Okay, so inside looks good, but we can see that coil wire is burned. That's because it was laying here, too close. Yeah, it was in here. All right, so it really shouldn't be in there. It should be a little further away. So we're going to pull the coil, we'll pull the boot off, and we'll clean the coil ends. Also clean where it mounts here and the standoffs here, and we'll clean this magnet up a little bit. And I'll get some tape and some heat shrink on that. I'm going to mount everything back, lubricant on these bolts, and we'll gap it to 10 thousandths, and he should be good to go. Now you can see there's junk in the fuel filter, and it did its job. And if there's enough hose and it's in good shape, trim the ends, fellas. If it's not in good shape, replace it. So this is just a better look at what we got here. All right, so we're going to get the whiz wheel out. We'll clean those surfaces here, and we'll wash that off. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. But yeah. All right, let me get to it. All right, Scotch-Brite style pad. Just going to go over this, the tops. All right, fellas, and just real quick. It's in good shape, so don't get crazy with it. And then I just grace the electrical connector. Just kiss it quick, one side if you can't get to the other. All right, now I'll dip it in some solvent. We'll get this off and we'll fix it. I cleaned it off a little solvent and then put some of my tranny sauce mix in there. Let's see, it's bonded pretty good. Gotta get it in. Yeah, watch out, I'm gonna stick my screwdriver right through my hand. There we go. Get it in there. Yeah, she's slowly starting to go. I might have to replace the whole thing. But he said it runs, so I believe him. I think he started it up or something, I don't remember. There we go. Hey, now it'll come out. All right, so let me wipe this off. So we got to get it free of oils and stuff. And I'll rinse it one more time in the solvent. We kind of want the tape to stick. So we're going to tape it first because we want to make sure we have good dielectric here. You blow it with low air, low pressure. All right, I'm going to put the tape on. About 2 layers of tape should do it. Nice long piece. And this way, it saves them the cost of a coil. Some of these used to be able to replace it. It's actually, there's like a little screw spike in here, and then they just kind of screw in, but then they get potted. But sometimes you can actually fix that. Like you can get it apart. Because I like OEM style coils. I don't trust. I've had issues with aftermarket coils. They often don't get the timing right. And if you got an OEM coil, this is a Walbro, so it's kind of what you want. I mean, you guys that know me know I like a lot of aftermarket stuff, except for certain things. All right, let me find some heat shrink. Piece of 3/8 heat shrink. I'll put the boot back. We'll put this thing back on to 10 thousandths. A little lube, just a little oil or something on these. Yeah, let me put the boot back. She look good. All right. Don't forget, we'll test everything again later. Oh, she's looking good. Snug them up. I'll walk the magnet up front. Drop like 10,000, 10 to 12. Loosen them up. Let it suck in. And retighten. That's it. Nice heavy duty bolts. Okay, spin it over, make sure it doesn't hit anything, because sometimes things are all wonky and oblong. Yeah, she feels good. Now, when we put this on, it should go here. And we'll get a better look at that in a minute. He had it over here by the muffler and shoved in. I think you saw that. So everything got pressure washed, so of course you're going to want to pressure wash this out. But then I like to put a little oil in here around the poles, and then there's a spring pocket there. You want to get that spring. Pull it over, pull it all the way through, and you'll hear it. It'll sweeten up. You can also shove some chain wax in there, or chain lube is your best bet. Drizzle a little bit of chain lube in there. It'll stay a little bit techy, just a little bit, or chain wax, and then wipe off. Pull it a whole bunch of times, and get all the excess off, because you don't want to attract too much dirt. But they get real sticky and they get filthy, so you got to get the filth out. And you want to put something on them. These poles are starting to wear a little bit. I can see it. We may be able to replace that pack, and I'll find out in a little while if he has a problem. Sometimes we can just replace the poles. I may even have them. But it's very much like the brakes. But if not, we'll get a whole new pack, and that'll get a little expensive. It's the whole thing it comes with, which is nice because the spring gets beat and rusty, everything gets yucky inside, and it will snap. So that service, we put a little chain lube in it, pull it through, wipe it out, and I'll pop it on. This is all back together nice. I'm going to put it on its side. I'll leave the plug out for now. Dump it on its side, get the blades on. I'll show you that in a bit. All right, fellas, so you can't see it all that great, but we're going to blast these blades on. Now, I've already cleaned up these blades, and they're in good shape. They're pretty new, and another little tip is that when you sharpen them, don't, let me make sure I'm in focus. Get them real sharp, and then just blunt it. As the disc is spinning down, just blunt it. These were pretty chipped up, especially doing what he does. Remember, these are hardened, so if you leave them really razor sharp and don't blunt them, well, they're hardened, they're brittle, and they're going to chip really bad. Now, I'm just going to hit this face here with the wire wheel, hit these faces with the wire wheel, and then these are the washers that go with it, all right? They're specialty pieces, and they're getting all cooled up, right? So I'm going to hit that with the wire wheel. And then the bolts, put some no-sees on. Even if you just use oil, something. These bolts are getting, crap. Hold on, let me adjust the focus. They're turning to crap. So get some lube on them, something, oil. I don't know. I mean, come on. What are you doing? Stop it. Try to make it nice, okay? And then we'll put these on, and then we're going to go over just the gears real quick. We're going to lubricate them, and then probably put it down so I can put it on its side, because we need to check a few more things back there. Let's do this first. I got it laid over, just to, something extra, whatever, so in case it falls, it won't be so terrible. But just be careful. These all look good. I checked them to see if there was play or whatever, so the spindles seem to be okay. And I don't see any place to put grease, sadly. So my guess is, they're sealed bearings, and when they go, they go. See, they get these chunkies on here, and that'll kick the blade. And there's still some left, so we just need the grinder. That's all you got to do. And this I'll bring over to the bench wire wheel, because it'll cock the blade. It won't sit right. It'll get vibration. That's not good for the bearings. Just periodically do it. You don't gotta get crazy with it. All right, fellas, it's all tightened up, okay, and the plug is out. So just check it, make sure everything is okay. Feels good, nothing's gonna hit. I also reached underneath there for now, and I hit it with a little bit of chain lube. Now we can put it down. We'll pull the back tires off. We're gonna use a little lube and some grease. Put the wheel covers back on, put all that back on, turn it on its side so that this end is up, so I can just maybe lubricate the cable and check the mechanism, make sure it's okay. Look at it a little bit closer. We're gonna grease all the wheels, so we'll pull all this stuff off. In fact, maybe I'll just pull these wheels off right now. They feel pretty good. These are bearing wheels. So, let me see. But we gotta do the backs. Yeah, those are in good shape, so we're okay there. They're real bearings. But we got to get back here and lube all that up and make sure it's working good. I got the plug. Plug is all clean. I just kind of wire wheeled it. It's in great shape. About 28 thousandths. I think it's 0.75 millimeters. We'll put that in when we're done. We're going to turn it all around and everything. And then when we go outside, we'll run it up. I'll put some fuel in it. We'll run it up. We'll dump the oil. The oil is going to make a mess, but that's okay because, I don't know, it's getting a little late, but it might be nice to hit a few areas with the wire wheel. And then I have some chemical to put on it. But before we put chemical on it, we're going to want to put a little bit more super clean. Just a hose style rinse. Nothing fancy. She's pretty clean. We're just going to wire wheel the outside and hit a few spots. A little bit of super clean. Then I have something I want to try. So we'll get to that in a little bit later. I don't know if it's going to be today, but let's just keep moving. All right, so to get this bearing off, same thing with the other one, we have to file the end. There's a burr that gets on there. Other than that, it's in excellent shape. So I'm starting off with some chain lube. Just some basic stuff. I did put oil on it after, just regular oil on after I washed it. There you go. See? So that's getting better. All right, we'll put a little bit more lube on that. We'll follow up with some chain wax, but first just some chain lube in this mechanism. And again, we're going to want to get from underneath as well. And I'm getting some in here. And then we're going to follow up. I don't know if I can do that this way. Yeah, I can kind of do it. It's getting there. Yeah, see, it's still sprung load, so we're okay. It's doing good. And we'll follow up with some chain wax. And we're going to put a little grease on that. See, this is all nice and clean. We'll put all this back. And if you really wanted to, you could actually lift these seals up and put a little grease in there and put the seal back. Same thing with this guy. They're in good shape. I don't know if these were ever replaced, but you can feel it. This is the back one. This one could use a touch of grease in it, so I might do that. And then we'll grease this up a little bit. Nothing crazy. Wipe down any excess for now, because the chain wax itself, yeah, let's get some. So this is going to wax up, whereas the other stuff will stay. Also clean out any of the gears, make sure there's no junk in there. I just did that. And this will kind of dry. You can also put lithium in these areas too. But I got to get this thing working. And that goes in and it will dry up like a wax, like a grease. So I'm going to do this. We'll do the other side. And then we can put the plug in and some oil. We'll gas in it and then we'll run it to get the oil out. So before I started the project, I washed everything, which is really important. So this lever over here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it when I pull it in. Hey, let me see if I can hold it. Hold on. So you could see almost like down in here, right? And also from the other side, and the cable, I use chain lube. You can also start off with a, like in here, and then the cable itself. You can start off with a penetrant if it's kind of stuck. So you want to get in here and clean it out good. And I tried. There's still a little bit of gook, but that's what's going to happen. It's going to get worse anyway. But try to get everything cleaned out with your pressure washer or your hose. Delouse it and then get some lube in it and make sure it's working good. And that's essentially to engage the transmission. It's a nice transmission. This one's a nice one. I also got a little bit on that bearing there. That's a support bearing. That can be replaced. It's more like a bushing. Everything looks good. Okay, we're ready to go. Let's put it down on all fours and get some fuel in it. See that? All right, that's for the drive control. This is the kind of stuff that annoys me. Right? Obviously, that's not correct. Look at how it's impinging. So when I get a chance, we'll just loosen that up. We'll flip that around. A lot of times I'll just take off the bar, but this bar's a little bit more embedded in there with the spring. That spring's not even on right. I would just get rid of this, personally. Who the hell wants that in your way all the time? Jeez, that's annoying. All right, we'll check this one too. Yeah, see how that one is? See, that's more correct. I don't understand why people just can't. They're getting upset now. Oh, it's windy out. All right, let's start it up. We'll let it warm up. Do a quick test. And then we're going to dump the oil in the filter. And then we'll clean it. So let's, that should be choke. Everything should be okay. up. Oh, she's mint, fellas. Let her warm up. Nice idle. That's not all the way down either. All right, we gotta let it warm up. I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, I hit it with just a wire wheel on a drill, nothing fancy, just in a few spots. And then, especially in here I got, right, because that's gonna be buried. And then I'm just gonna rinse it, and I'm gonna hit it with a little super clean, go walk away, take a quick break. And then we're gonna come back with some CRC Evaporust I'll put in a spray bottle. And we'll wick that on a couple of times, I guess across the next hour or two, because I have some other things I want to do today, you know, kind of clean up a little here, straighten up, whatever else I can figure out. Just, you know, noodle around out in the yard. But, you know, we spilled oil down in here, so that's why the super clean. And also to get off any of the scum and everything that I just been working on it. A mix of super clean, 50-50. All right, and there you go. That's about 50-50, so it's weak. It works good, even at 50%. And like I said, we don't need to get on everything. We just want to get it in this area here, so we're not really going to be doing the motor or anything. We're just going to keep it limited to this area. And then we'll come back and we'll re-lube the cables and stuff when we're done. But for now, they've been lubed and everything is working good, so we're not going to get crazy with Super Clean or even the Evaporust. We got some Evaporust in a spray bottle. I'm going to go put it on. I'll wait a little while. I'll go do some other stuff. And then I'll come back because it's been rinsed and it's a little wet from water. We'll add a little bit more and see what happens. I'll give it, you know, half hour. We'll talk later, but it didn't do a great job. Not as good as the other product I like to use, but we'll talk about that later. But it's treated, and we'll bring it in and we'll do a few things. We'll take a look in a little bit. Let it dry. All right, it's better, but it's definitely not like the product that I use, you know, the metal prep. The amount of time that I left it outside, the metal prep would have had this down to bare metal. But it's stabilized and it's treated. And now I'll go over it. And especially up in here, this is really where you want to be concerned. So I'm going to hit it with rusty metal primer and let it soak. There's some stickies in here and what have you. We want to get that up first before we paint. I did the handle, but you're not going to be able to see it. I actually sprayed the handle a bit. You know, it cleaned up the aluminum a little bit as well. It's good if you want to soak something overnight, but not for what I do. So I got to get some more metal prep. I did hit it with a little bit of light phosphoric acid and a Scotch-Brite pad on the sponge, and then a Scotch-Brite pad as well on here. The phosphoric acid, going over it with the Scotch-Brite, it helped take off a lot, and it left that residue. It's like a salt or precipitate, so it doesn't re-rust, but it's a very mild, older phosphate. You can also just get a good phosphoric acid. I want to try the one that Amazon has, which that one-arm mechanic recommended, and I watched him use it, and it looked about as good as the metal prep, and it's reasonably priced, so that might be my next shot. All right, good enough for now. I'm going to leave it till probably Monday. Tomorrow's a holiday. All right, we gotta let that dry. That's just rusty metal primer. I can put a little bit more right there. So let it dry, and I'll go choose a color. But it's got to dry. We can't spray it. We could put a little bit more primer there, a few spots. This is not high build. This is rusty metal primer. This will seal it up. Makes a good primer. You have to prime. It really isn't that bad. It just looks uglier than it is, but this will stop it from rotting and seal it up. Yeah, up in here is really, really laid it down. And I got in. I'm not worried about it getting on pulleys or belts. That doesn't matter. It'll shoot right off. It'll burn right off. Everything else looks real good. Just pulled the wheels off so I don't knock into them. And I did a little bit back here. And now you can see the handle, right? It doesn't have to be mint, but you'll see it all tie in when we're done. All right, that's the first coat. What do I do with the paint? It's around here somewhere. Yeah, my favorite is International Harvester. I need some more. The Massey Ferguson is a little too bright for Toro. It's nice, but this is really closer to International Harvester. And I do use a little Massey in some areas. Sometimes the primer is a bit dark. So if you put the Massey over it, you're going to need a lot more. So you can use the, if you put the Massey over it, it's a little brighter. And that will lighten up the darker area. So like a first coat of that. Like this is Massey over primer, and you can see it's a little spotty, but we don't care back there. It's coated, and you still see a bit of blotchy. Then you go over it with the International, which actually is a bit darker. We gotta let it dry. It's gonna get like one light coat, just to get rid of some of the modeling, and then a little clear standing way back after it tacks up a bit, and that'll force it to dry quick, and it'll be real hard. All right, very light coats, fellas. If anything, maybe in certain areas be a little bit heavier with the primer, right? Because you just want to seal in whatever leftover rust there is. Oh, boy. Yeah, this thing came out nice, right? He's very happy with it. It needed a lot of work, and we needed to go over the whole thing, and I like to establish a baseline. Look, this is something where it doesn't matter whether it's a customer, as a contractor, or anything else. If somebody brings me a piece of equipment, I'm really not big on, I get $20, $50, I'll blow this aside, a little spray underneath. I generally don't do that. A piece of equipment comes in, I want to see what condition it's in, I'd like to make it nice. This thing's in really good shape. There's really nothing to come back to on this machine. There is another one, there's some others that I can see there's some things will have to be done in stages just to keep everything moving for, like I say, a contractor. Some things can be left for another day, but I like the paint, the way the paint came out. That's really part of, I think I should make it part of a paint education thing, whatever. If people are interested in that, I do that from time to time. I blend paints. I know sometimes I get a little confused when I say things, but it's hard to think about what you want to say, and you're trying to work, and then you're trying to narrate, and I don't like the evapor rust for this. I'd rather have phosphoric, like I mentioned, and there's different types of phosphoric, which I talk about as well in other paint education in a folder named as such. He's very happy with that because it's all stabilized, and although these are very heavy-bodied machines, unlike some of the other Toros, you don't want them rotting out on you and everything. You try to that adjuster in the belt, though. When that belt needs to be replaced, I'm going to want to replace that or make a new one. That's a mess. So that will fail, and I'm willing to bet that if and when that time comes, because the belt is in good shape, I'll probably go to turn it and it might break, and I really got to be ready for that. So that's the kind of things you can get to know, and you can see. There's another one I'm working on for him. I'm like, we really need wheel bearings. Like, I'll fix them up, we'll clean them up, they'll probably be fine. But if he would like to stock some stuff, and he's trying to learn how to do some of this stuff, so I like to be amiable to whatever the person is. And I think that's about it. I think it came out really good. There's really nothing else to cover on this. It's back in service. He's really happy. And don't forget to check out the other video on the valves. So whenever I release this or the other one, I don't know, eventually there'll be a folder for the different Turfmasters and Time Masters that I'm working on currently. And all of the associated stuff for that particular unit will be in there. But a great Kawi motor, which runs really well. And I've got an extra technique that I'd like to share with everybody on properly tightening up the valves when you're done adjusting them. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching this episode of Artist Garage.